This is the Range Rover, and it's a little bit like the Queen doing Tough Mudder. You see, it's a very regal vehicle, yet can cope with the muddiest of terrains. Obviously that dual ability. It doesn't come cheap though. This car starts from just under £84,000, but through Carway you can save over £4,000 off one. In fact, if you click on the pop-out banner just up there in the top right hand corner of the screen, or follow the link below the video, you can go to Carway to see how much money you can save from our trusted dealers. Let's start this review by talking about the Range Rover's design, and this is a car that is instantly recognisable the world over. Now, as you move up the range, it gets a little bit more showy, a little bit more footballers' wives. The actual lower down cars are actually a bit more regal. But this is a status symbol, isn't it? Nothing else looks like a Range Rover. It's certainly got plenty of presence. Inside, it's also instantly recognisable as a Range Rover. The design is starting to feel a little bit dated when you compare it to the latest Mercedes GLS or the BMW X7. But it's so effortless and classy. Everywhere you touch, there's leather. There's leather, 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 even leather up here on the grab handles, and all but the entry-level car has super soft semi-aniline leather for the seats, which is just lovely. Reach all the way down into the door bins, and they're kind of padded on the outside. They have felt on the inside. It's amazing, the quality in this car. Really like it. Shiny window switches. You've got nice controls for the seat, the metallic around the air vents, around the driver's instruments. Really, the only cheap thing I can find in here are these. The paddle shifters for the automatic gearbox. They're just cheap plasticky nonsense. I like this. You've got frameless rear view mirror, and then even the vanity mirror has soft lighting, just like a Hollywood star's dressing room mirror. Lovely. Now, obviously, this latest version of the Range Rover has Jaguar Land Rover's most up-to-date technology, and that brings me onto this car's equipment list. You get three huge infotainment screens. The one down here is for the climate controls. The one up here is for your satellite navigation, your normal infotainment functions, and you can use it to control things like the ambient lighting, which you can actually operate over 3 different levels, and there's so many different colours. It's absolutely glorious, darling. And then over here you have the digital driver's display. All cars also get this massive panoramic glass roof. The entry-level Vogue model also gets keyless go and hands-free opening for the tailgate. You just kick like that and it should open. Kick like that and it should open. Kick like that and it should open. I'll just use the button. The normal Vogue model also gets a wonderful Meridian sound system. The next model up is this Vogue SE, and it has soft close for the doors. It also adds an off-road cruise control to the terrain response system. The Vogue SE also gets heating and cooling for the rear seats. The next model up is the Autobiography, and it has 24-way adjustable electric seats rather than the usual 20. Plus they have a massage function. There's also 4-zone climate control instead of the usual 3. And then there's the adaptive cruise control with lane keeping assist, so the car will effectively drive itself on the motorway. Finally, there's the Autobiography long wheelbase, which, as the name suggests, has more space in the back, some special seats here, and a rear entertainment system. Anyway, enough of that nonsense. Back to the review and the infotainment system. All of the car's functions are controlled through these 2 screens, so there's no need for a multitude of ugly buttons. Now, top screen is dedicated to Bluetooth, DAB digital radio and satellite navigation features. The numerous menu icons are quite small though, and there aren't any physical shortcut buttons, so you'll have to take your eyes off the road for some time to make sure you press the right part of the screen. The graphics are very sharp and the colours bright. Unfortunately, the system is a little bit unresponsive and it lags a little bit when you're pressing things or zooming round a map. It's nowhere near as good as a modern mobile phone. The slightly illogical menu layouts mean it's not particularly easy to input a destination into the satellite navigation. Thankfully, it's much simpler to add a waypoint or swipe across the map to preview your route. Better still, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are standard, and you may as well just plug in your phone and use Waze or Google Maps for your sat-nav. Now, all your ventilation controls are actually operated down here. You see, what you have to do is first select what you want to do. So if you want the fan, you have to press that, and then you can control it using that rotary dial. But then if you want to adjust the temperature, you have to press that button again, and then that switches over to temperature so you can control it. And it's just one too many button presses. Now let's move on to the widescreen digital driver's display, and it's generally pretty good, and you can move through different functions using these buttons on the steering wheel. And the menus are a touch confusing. Also, I don't think that the graphics are quite as bright or as cool looking as those in an Audi Q7. In fact, if you want to see my full in-depth video review of the Audi Q7, just click up there on the pop-out banner in the top right-hand corner of the screen to watch my video. Now let's move on to connectivity. So under here, you have 2 USB ports and a 12-volt charging socket. You're probably wondering what's underneath here. It is a fridge, which is cooled. Lovely. Also, you have some cup holders there, but they will hold large bottles. It can also hold bigger items like that as well, which is pretty good. And check this out. There's a cutaway for a mobile phone. Look at that. Brilliant. Also, I want to show you this. Just take those out of there, because you can slide this forwards and then you have a secret storage area down there with a charging point for another mobile device. In fact, that is designed to take an iPad. Brilliant. There's more storage here. Look, there's your glove box. And I want to show you this actually while I'm at it. Look at that there. That shows that Land Rover has the Royal warrant, which isn't surprising because the Royal family do love a Range Rover. There's another little glove box on here though. It is kind of small. And then you've got huge ass door bins. They're absolutely massive. Look, you can fit lots in there. Big bottle there, a bunch of smaller bottles. And then we come to the seating position, which is very, very regal. I love this. The special armrests, and you can adjust the height of them. So you feel like you're sat in the captain's chair, and there's plenty of adjustment in the steering wheel and the seat, so you can jack it up like that, go nice and high to get a really good view out and look down on the peasants. And you can actually extend the seat base out for more under thigh support. This is a really, really comfy car. But what's it like for your rear passengers? Well, as you imagine, the rear doors open nice and wide, and oh my gosh, there's loads of space back here, isn't there? Look at it. And I've got this chair pushed quite far back as well. Then you've got all the leather yet again, loads of room. Big door bins down here, once again, they're lined. It's really hard to fault the back of this car. The window ledge is nice and low as well, and the rear windows are huge. You get a good view out, and they go all the way down as well, which is great. My only complaint I'd say is the seats seem quite low, so you almost feel like you're squatting just a little bit. You have a completely flat floor. Huge soft middle seat, so if you need to carry 3 people in this row at once, it's a great car, especially as the body is nice and wide. Really good for long distances. Of course, you can recline these rear seat backs as well, and most people, if you've just got 2 in the back, you're just going to sit there with this armrest, which has 2 posh looking cup holders, a pointless bit of storage there. You're going to keep in that? I don't know. Let me know in the comments below, I guess. And of course, if you need to carry longer items and 2 people either side, you got through loading as well. All very good, all very impressive, and I can't really complain much, especially as you then get some extra charging points down there for everyone's mobile devices. I want to show you this too. Look, yeah, how posh are these folders on the seat backs? Fit in a baby seat. Well, it's super easy because there's so much room to manoeuvre back here. More of a problem though is finding the ISOFIX mounting points because they're wedged between the corner where the rear seat backrest and the bases meet. As such, it's a sort of hit and hope technique, and you risk scratching your lovely leather while you're trying to wedge the base into place. Still, once you've got a couple of child seats in, there's at least enough room for an adult to sit between them without feeling too cramped, and that is quite rare. Anyway, let's move on to the boot. Let me guess, it's going to be quite large. So the first thing I want to show you is this. Oh yeah, the Range Rover has a glorious split tailgate. It's great, absolutely love it. You can sit on it, makes it easy to slide items in and out, and look at this, yeah. God, massive boot, look at it, absolutely huge, can carry loads of stuff in there. Love the carpeting in it as well, it just feels so expensive. And underneath here, a proper spare wheel. Oh yes, Land Rover, keeping it real. There's some other useful things as well, like solid tie down points, a 12-volt socket for charging things, and you might be thinking, oh no, how do you fold down the rear seats? You can't get to them because of this split folding tailgate. You just do this, press some buttons, and they move down slowly. Slowly. It's just moving the front seat out the way as well. So that's good, you don't have to run around to the front seat, it figures it all out eventually. Now you might be thinking, just more stuff to go wrong, Matthew. After all, it is a Range Rover and they don't have the best reliability record. And you'd probably be right. Anyway, let's do the next one. Look at that. Now you don't have a completely flat floor. Oh bugger, I've got to go and get this suitcase. So it's a bit harder to push things right to the front, which is a long way away. So you have to under that. So that's a bit frustrating. But you probably want to know just how much stuff you can fit in this cavernous car. Well, with all the seats folded down, you can fit in 3 large boxes, 12 small boxes, 2 large suitcases, and a soft bag inside. With the rear seat and the load cover in place, there's still an impressive amount of room. Or you can get a pushchair in, golf clubs, a soft bag, and 2 small suitcases. So then, this Range Rover is very, very practical. Perhaps the only downside is that you can't get it as a 7-seater version. So if you need 7 seats, you might want to check out the BMW X7, and if you click up there on the pop-out banner, you can see my full in-depth video review of that car. Speaking of annoying things about the Range Rover, here's 5 more. You can get a special effect paint called Duotone, but it'll cost £16,000. That's more than you can get a Volkswagen Polo for through CarWow. The sunblind for the panoramic roof is blooming noisy. I mean, listen to that racket. Plus, it's very slow, so it just goes on, and I'm getting blinded by the sun. Oh no! Such terrible, terrible first world problems. The glossy metal trim of the air vent reflects really badly in the window, and it catches your peripheral vision while you're driving. You think there's something in your blind spot just about to overtake you in your mirror. When you first turn on the car, it takes ages for the infotainment system to load up. So you're waiting, taking it going, you're waiting some more. You want to program the sat nav, but you can't yet. You're late. You really need to get going now, come on. There we are, finally. If you want to remove the load cover, you first have to move the seats forward to free it up, and then kind of concertina it like that, and then really tug at it. God, it's so stiff, and it's very heavy as well, and you've got to be careful when you're manoeuvring it because it can fold over on your fingers and crush them, and there's nowhere specific to leave it in the car, so you have to just leave it there. It takes up quite a lot of space. So frustrating. Don't worry, there's still plenty to like about this car. Here's the CarWow 5 core features. The car's standard fit air suspension will automatically lower when the car's parked, so it's much easier for your passengers and your old dog to jump inside. Woof. When you turn the car on, the gear selector majestically rises up out of the center console. Ooh. Rear passengers can control either their window, the other person's window, or both simultaneous by using this toggle switch here. It's really good, so yes. Bye now. The infotainment system has a chauffeur mode, which allows me to put the passenger seat away to free up loads of room so that my VIP in the back, which is cameraman Jack, has a lot of room to stretch out in. That is a lot of room. In fact, I could probably get back there with him as well. Isn't that lovely? All right, Jack, I'm coming through. You not only have one sun blind, but if the sun's coming from all directions, because you're on a foreign planet with multiple suns, you have 2 blinds. Look at that, so you can remain nicely shaded. Simple, but I like it. Right, and now it's time to talk about engines. So you can get the Range Rover with 2 choices of diesel engine. There's a 3-litre V6 with 275 horsepower, or a 4.4-litre V8 with 340 horsepower. They both do 0 to 60 in around 7.5 seconds. You can also get a hybrid version if it's economy you want, and it'll do 85 miles per gallon, even though it's only got a 2-litre 4-cylinder turbo petrol engine, though that is of course supplemented by electric power. And it's got 400 horsepower in total, so it can get from 0 to 60 in about 6.5 seconds. You can get a normal 3-litre 6-cylinder turbo petrol with 400 horsepower, and because it's lighter than the hybrid, it'll do 0 to 60 in just under 6 seconds. And then there's my favourite ones, the 5-litre supercharged V8. So there's one with 525 horsepower, but if that's not enough, there's another one with 565 horsepower, and they'll do 0 to 60 in just over 5 seconds, and are super quick, but also very thirsty, returning around 20 miles per gallon. Now, all Range Rovers come with an automatic gearbox as standard, and of course all-wheel drive. Now, this particular car is the SD V6 Vogue, so it should cost around £90,000, but I plugged the details into CarWow, and I've got an offer back for just under £87,000, so about £3,500 savings. So if you want to see how much you can save on a new car and to try our configurator, it's a bit of fun anyway, click on the pop-out banner just up there to go to CarWow. One of the great things about this car is the forward visibility. You just get a great view out, and then there's that big bonnet which just, it's like you're driving a tank, but in a good way. It feels solid and secure. The suspension as well is really quite floaty. Over speed humps, it just smashes them back into the ground. Occasionally though, potholes do catch it out and you get a sudden like surprising jolt. Now, there is the issue of the turning circle. It's a big old vehicle, but it's actually better than something like a BMW X7. Though the X7 you can get with rear wheel steering, which makes it more manoeuvrable than the Range Rover, which you can't get rear wheel steering with. The controls themselves, the steering super light. The brakes, they're good too, not too grabby, and they do haul this big thing up. What's not so great though is the automatic gearbox. So you're at a junction waiting to pull out, you see a gap, put your foot down and here we go, we're off now. It's not the most responsive, but really the biggest issue when driving in town is finding a parking space big enough to accommodate this massive SUV. So there's a parking space there. Let's see how easy it is to park. Thankfully, the rearward visibility on this thing is absolutely brilliant. But I'm going to rely on the standard fit reversing camera quite a bit. Now, you don't want to be cubbing your big posh 20-inch alloy wheels because they are expensive. With the camera system and the decent view at the back, bosh! Did it in a tour! What a win! Anyway, let's get out of here and see what this car's like on the motorway, which is actually where most people will be spending a lot of time in them. This thing is just great for doing long distances in. The chairs are super comfy. You can drive in like this and just, you know, relax. It helps it's really quiet as well. And this car has all the windows laminated, so it's super quiet in this particular one. Though, let's say you need to overtake someone, and once again the gearbox isn't great, so I'm doing 50. Put my foot down, here we go. Choose a gear, choose a gear. We've chosen a gear now, and we're off. So that's 70, which is okay performance-wise, but this is the slowest engine. The V8 diesel is punchier, and the petrol is punchier. But the economy on this one, I'm doing 30 miles per gallon, which isn't amazing, but considering the size of this car, I am quite impressed. Finally then, twisty road time. How is this Ranger going to cope? One of the things about this car is the steering is quite slow and the car leans quite a bit, and if you go too fast, it's soon like lolloping around and the stability control is kicking in and slowing everything down and going, what the heck are you trying to do? I'm a big Range Rover, I'm not meant for this. It's fine if you just want to take it steady, but if you want to get a move on, yeah, something like a Bentley Bentayga will kick this thing's ass on a twisty road. In fact, if you want to see my full in-depth video review of the Bentley, just click up there on the pop-out banner or follow the link below the video. Now, you're probably thinking, well, what are you doing hooning a Rangy around a twisty road? This thing is supposed to be taken off-road. I want to see some off-roading. Well, do you know what? Most people who buy these things don't take them off-road, and so I'm not going to do that either, because the off-roading I've got here to test it on is pointless. I could do it in a normal hatchback. So instead, I'm going to give you a quick montage of some serious off-roading in the Range Rover. There you go, that's all you get in. But yeah, this car is better off-road than other SUVs. So then, what's my final verdict on the mighty Range Rover? You probably don't care actually what I have to say, because if you want one of these, you're just going to go right ahead and buy it. But I'm going to do my job, okay? So should you avoid it? Should you consider it? Should you shortlist it? Or should you just go right ahead and buy it? No, you shouldn't. You should shortlist the Range Rover. You see, there are some luxury SUVs that are just a bit better to drive and have a bit better technology. But yes, still, it is a rather lovely thing. Do you agree with my verdict? Let me know in the comments section. Also, please subscribe to this channel for more videos, and if you click on the deals box to the right, you can see how much you can save on a new car at CarWow. Or click on the video windows below to watch another of my videos.